anybody wrote in Rose like right into district?
I don't think so, but I tell you, Mrs. Brough, what lives on N, she sees it all going off. And I don't know whether they're janitors reporting things.
I should have a look.
When I see Janice, I'll ask Janice.
Yeah.
But it's every day though, you know what I mean?
I have tomorrow got, no, I can't be tomorrow. I have got through Angela Smith, who is the housing officer here on us, and I will mention it to her. It's about another matter.
Yeah. See, when we're going to do our washing, you can hear them. Swearing, falling out, fighting.
I will mention it.
I mean, this morning we went in, they'd flooded their bath, so it was coming through our ceiling, like where we do washing in the kitchen.
Just got a lady over there, Terry.
So,
I just asked, I've recently sent some emails to yourself, Gwyneth and Terry, and I went out tonight and I just thought you had them.
We have got a meeting with the planning officer, Chris Bridlington. I think it's the 23rd or the 24th of this month. And I've got to say, I agree with, I'm not on planning committee, so I can say this, I agree with everything we're saying. And I am against any more development in Clowne, and I've said it, and I'll say it again. We want no more development, there's too much.
It was just like, they asked us to contact our councillors.
Yeah.
I think people have been emailing to those where they've got her or
Excuse me, what you're saying actually, what did you say? What did you just say regarding you don't want no more development?
I don't want any more development in Clowne because I don't think Clowne can cope.
From what I understand, there's a few of you councils, parish councils, that's totally for this 1800 development. Well, some councillors are. Let's have an independent vote. Let's see who stands where.
Well, no, it's not an appropriate thing to do.
Why can't we see who stands where?
This one's not.
You're not.
There you go. I don't want any more development.
Put it all in, put your hand up, please.
But it won't make any difference anyway because we're not the planning authority.
No, but the point is we want to know where we stand. We want to know when it comes to voting again, who we want to vote for and who we don't want to vote for. Simple as ABC. We don't want closed shops anymore.
it's not though, is it?
Because what we're finding out about this planning application is a totally closed shop. It's as corrupt as it's ever been.
Excuse me, but what do you mean? What is?
The planning thing's as corrupt as it's ever been. I fought with Mr. Clark last time, and one of the planners that was totally corrupt. We had him investigated, Jeffrey Dyer.
Can I just stop you there, because that's...
if you want to give black and white money to sign it, I'll sign it.
But that's planning is balls over. We make a comment on it.
I'm just asking you for your independent. Councillors for independence, tell me what vote you for to lose.
It's on the agenda, and we'll make comments. I'll make a comment where I think it's appropriate. I'm not voting for anything. I'm not on planning.
If you're supporting it.
Sorry?
If you're supporting it then.
We vote for you people, lawyer, when you come up for putting up for your elections, and we'd like to know what you stand. Do you stand red, do you stand blue, or do you stand black and white? All we're asking you is for a fair back and tell me if it's funny or not.
It's on the agenda.
It's on the agenda.
So you'll be able to see who's voting
Okay,
and who's not.
fair enough.
But we won't be able to speak then, will we, after that?
Yes, Robert.
It's just sort of seems strange again because there's a huge development, 18 houses, etc. Went into Derbyshire Towns for public consultation the week before Christmas when the council offices are closed, and you've still got that period, and they've done this before. They do it regularly. It's really not right for people to be able to object, and knowing that, Christmas people are probably not buy Derbyshire Times, whatever.
I don't know. It's brought down to consultation now, whether as a parishioner you can object or you can support. Still going through the process. It's on the Bolsover District Council portal.
I mean, it's like
oh,
sneaky, but they seem to do it every time they've been on.
well, they did do the consultation, didn't
Well, the
they?
thing is, there's two different dates that you can go by. Because if you go by the date that the application was put online,
Yeah.
that date is fast approaching within the next few days. I think it's the 11th. But if you count it from when it went in the Derbyshire Times, we've still got another couple of weeks. So which is it?
Yeah, this is what
And this is the confusion that the District Council planning create every time over major decisions.
I do take your point, but it's not for us to answer. It's for the district.
But you can make a stronger case against this, because let's face it, most of what you put in, have they got enough parking? That's about the sole strength of what comments you make.
I take what you're saying. So when we come to comments, because it's on the agenda, we can put that in there, and that we would need more notice.
At the end of the day, who are we building 1,800 houses in Clowne for?
Well,
It's certainly not Clowne people.
Shall we wait while we get to that?
We understand the planning application's been extended till end of month. According to Ed Planner, we were told when we were talking.
So people can put
Friday.
objections in up to the end of the month.
We understand it's been extended. There's been, as the lady says, there's been lots of complaints, holiday period and this, that and the other. And they understand. Now, I'm not saying it's in black and white, that's what the Ed Planner says.
It's a fair comment, but
So yes, it'll be an extension.
Yeah, but as a parish council, you're representing Clowne. This is going to affect Clowne.
Yeah.
So I know it's the district council that's going to say all
So
the
it's got to be
but you
a-
should have a big say. It's affecting all what you do.
It is,
Yeah, all yours.
We've also got 4 voices here
Who in-
involved
parish
on the parish council.
Next question.
No, they're not necessarily on the plan.
Well, the district council.
Yeah, the District Council.
We talk to these.
You got
Anybody
a
else
question?
have a question?
What about you, Mr. Connaughton? You're on planning, aren't you?
Yeah.
Have you got any comment to make?
Well, no, because I've got to be careful that I don't have 2 bites of the cherry, which is why on all planning matters I lead the parish council. But the thing that I'm not absolutely sure about this, but I don't think the district council put that advert in the Derbyshire Times. I think it was the people who made the planning application.
No, it's
It's an official, it's in the
It's
public
required to
notices.
be advertised in the paper, isn't it?
Public notices.
I think it's required to be advertised in the paper, isn't it?
Legally required.
Possibly,
But it
Yeah, I'm sure it
causes a confusion straight away as to which day you take.
Any more questions?
Man at the back.
I don't.
Hello.
This, bear with me. Basically, you built the ark, yes, on the indoor playing fields, from what was the indoor playing field, yes? Yeah, talking a good few years ago. When I was a kid, we had 8 football pitches on here and a rugby pitch that everybody through the community can use. We're trying to get the Anchor football team back up and running, yeah? I'm trying here, as much as I can, to try and get the football pitch for a Sunday. I now understand that Benishire Rangers is on it, which is understandable, they was there first. That's fair enough. I was trying to find out today when their lease actually ended, because apparently they have block book. I've asked the question, when does that run out then? The reply I got, when they don't want it anymore. So how is this meant to be for a community, with only 2 main football pitches in Clowne that are on there, nobody can get on a Sunday because they're block booking it throughout.
That district, I'm afraid, is not part of Harrow.
I think it's absolutely shocking. I've got 22 lads on my football team and more wanting to come, but I cannot get them on a football field to play in the Napier Division League next season. Which I think is very disrespectful. youth at Clowne, I think is absolutely wrong, because your lane men should come in and take over them 2 pictures on there and not being anybody else with a shout on Sunday.
Have you tried recreation clothes?
That's not the parish though, I'm afraid. That is taken up by the district.
Are they resurrecting some pictures of Marlborough? They're resurrecting some
Well, we tried at Balborough a few seasons ago, but the complex that Balborough have made is set for the Balborough Kids Academy. So they don't want any adults on it.
Is it Bolsover District Council you've gone to over that pictures at back?
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
No, I rang the Alcup itself.
yeah, well,
and spoke
that'll
to
be
the
Bolsover
manager.
District Council. I mean, if you give me your contact details, I'll get in touch with them
It's
for
like,
you and see
I understand fully
see what the
that,
position is. I don't mind doing
that
that.
people block book, that's fair enough, but I couldn't
Yeah.
get an answer when their block booking finishes so somebody else can apply for block
But
booking.
we don't have any control over those pictures, unfortunately. That is Bolsover District Council. So all we can do is raise the issue for you, and obviously I know the leisure team that will probably manage those pictures and try and establish a position. Usually teams do book for the season, so you'd
Yeah.
be talking about 2018, wouldn't you, season?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, sorry, but we are.
I've got to take that up
I
there.
have
You've already,
the control of recreation.
if this is the same gentleman, he's already asked me to do something about it, which I have this morning.
Well, I haven't heard anything. You said you
No,
get
no,
back
you
to me.
haven't. I haven't had time to phone you back, but I have raised the point. And so, you know, I'll give you a phone call and tell you what the result of that was.
It's like, even if I'm trying to get a friendly just on a one-off, I've been turned away because finisher on
Well,
it.
I can understand that because as the clerk just said, you know, if you'd have got a contract to have
But
you wouldn't relish somebody coming
they
in
have
to
to,
play.
you're not telling me they're playing on it all day on a Sunday.
My point,
I
why
don't
did
know.
not the sheriff?
I don't know. But
But
if
like,
they,
the client teams are getting pushed out for pure reasons.
no,
Finisher
I don't
playing
think
on
they
it.
are,
Why
because
not?
if you look at Clowne,
Well, if the block booking is open now,
they've got the whole use of the
we
whole
cannot get on it.
Clowne. You know, it's not
Sure-
fair that
surely.
they're being pushed out.
Surely that they should get priority in Clowne.
Excuse me now, I'm afraid we're
It's no use shaking yet, Jerry. That is true. Why shouldn't they get priority?
Whoa,
They didn't get priority because the anchor...
If he applies, he should be seen.
sorry!
I'm sorry that there weren't more people here to listen to the police tonight. But if it had been publicised a bit sooner and more, we might have got more people here. Now, when the agenda only goes on the internet today, it's not on. We should have at least 3 clear days to have the agenda on.
Not
Now,
including the day of the meeting.
that's up to you people to sort it out.
Listen, we don't run that meeting, do we?
Of course you do run it. Look, the Department for the Communities and Local Government. Now what are you? Are you not that, Terry?
The police normally call those meetings.
I'm not talking about the police, I'm talking about the agenda even for this
The
meeting.
information on the Clowne Parish Council website
Oh, right.
was not on soon enough.
No.
It did not follow the government recommendations.
Yeah. All I can say is that the notice, you have to have a public notice, and that can be electronic and or physical.
Yeah.
There was a public notice put in within the required numbers of days on the notice board at the community centre, on the notice board outside Parish House, and the there was.
Yeah, but isn't it easier?
Well,
You're doing it on the computer, isn't it
Well,
just as easy to do it
If
on
you let me
the
finish, I'll tell you. Right. And it was also on the homepage, the public notice to have this meeting tonight. And he broke it down into 3 bits. He broke it down into the Police and Crime Commissioners event, and it told you the date and the time, and that parishioners and councillors were welcome to ask questions. And then it said that the parishioners forum would be at 6:45 until 7 o'clock, and that the council meeting would be delayed by 15 minutes to start at 7 o'clock. So those statutory notices, I can assure you, were on in the appropriate timescales that was governed by, but I'm sorry that they were.
Right, I think we're moving on now. We'd like to put the council back into council meeting. I'd like to tell the public that they have no participation now, I'm afraid. We're back into council meeting. Thank you. So we are now at agenda 5, confirmation and signing of the minutes of the following council meetings. The first one is the Clowne Parish Joint Burial Committee.
Move the minutes, Chair.
Right, can I have a seconder, please? Ross, you have them now for 4 days. So we need a seconder.
No, I can't say.
You want it? All in favour? 28. Motion carried. Minutes of council meeting held on the 4th of December. We should be attended 1D.
Move the minutes, Chair.
Just hang on a minute. You've had long enough, haven't you? We'll just hang on.
You've got more time. Punchy like this.
One, 6, 5, 17. And then the last paragraph it says that there were also 2 other district councils. Isn't it 3? Am I right? Have I got it right? Yeah, 3.
When you're all there.
Oh, no, I was in the meeting.
Yeah, that was 3.
All right. You mean at the meeting?
Yeah, okay. Not including councillors Smith, who was put in the motion.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah. So it's been moved for a second, please.
Who moved that?
All in favour? All against?
You think it's a joke? That's
We
the
have confirmation of the minutes for the extraordinary council meeting on 29th of December. 1C.
Minute number 18717. You've got Councillor Walker was asked not to take notes. We just confirm that Councillor Walker was advised he could take notes. 18717, I've read it.
Did you not say I read it, but did you not say we were checking on that?
No.
Yes, we did.
No, we didn't. You said.
It said it's a confidential matter. If the notes are only for your own
That's it.
recollection. Yeah.
So, we just allowed in minutes that I asked if I could take notes, and that was confirmed that I could. Thanks. Oh, yep, that's next one.
So, move on that. Second then? All in favour? All against? Item 6, the proposed time and date of the next council meeting. You're going to have that meeting on a Friday, the 2nd of February, rather than, well, no, we can take a vote on that and can't put on the agenda.
Why are they changing? Well, can I just say, standing order state that council meeting should be on a Monday.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the position in standing order state should be on a Monday at 6:45, unless it's an extraordinary council meeting, which Friday the 29th was. So full council meeting should be on a Monday.
We should, yeah.
So it's over to Clark.
Yeah, the reason I've gone for that day, Chair, originally was that we've had notification of the precept, and originally it appeared as if we needed to get the precept in the first week of February. However, I have spoken to Bolsover District Council and explained that I'm on annual leave in and around that time, which was the reason I suggested the 2nd. However, they have said, as long as we can get the information into them by week commencing the 12th, that they would be happy with that in terms of the preset processes. So an alternative could be, Chair, that you go from Monday the 12th, so it's still on your Monday, rather than
Which is what we're going to do.
rather than Friday the 2nd. It gives us gives me an extra week and a bit to put the preset proposal together for me to consider it. So
we'll go
you've got two
for...
options really.
Well, we was originally going to do that anyway, weren't we? We're going to go for Monday the 12th.
Has it got to be handed in the week commencing the 12th?
That week I've got to notify them what the preset is, yeah.
Well, we'd be better having it before then, so we've got a bit of breathing space and not leaving it to the last minute. Could we go for Monday before 12?
I'm
That's
not here.
not here.
Yeah.
That's when the actual
Ordinarily,
meeting should
council
be.
walker, yeah, we would have had it the Monday before, but I'm not here.
The
So.
deadline's the 15th, isn't it? The
It's
deadline-
just leaving it tight, and that's all.
Not
Could
necessarily.
we not have it on a Friday?
If we have it on the 12th, we'll get it in, won't we?
Yeah.
We'll get it in.
Spoken to Bolsover District Council,
Yeah.
they're comfortable with the timeline.
Yeah.
So it's just giving you the option, it gives us an
Yeah.
extra week.
Move the 12th, Chair.
So you've got A or B, which you can go for.
Yeah, so we'll move the 12th.
So we've got to move
Seconded by
on.
Terry.
Hang on now. So,
Yeah.
You can do it tomorrow.
All in favour of the 12th? All against the 12th? Right, moving on. Now item 7. Reports from Anne Weston, she's represented, we've had that report with the police, there was no report.
Councillor Weston's had to go with the Commissioner to Bolsover, because she's also doing Bolsover Parish Council, so she's not been able to stay for the County Council report, unfortunately. And obviously, you've had the opportunity to discuss policing matters within the village.
So we're going to agenda 9.
Bolsover District Council. Agenda item 8. Bolsover District Council.
So anybody want to take anything else over the
Oh,
district to report?
At the moment, we're totally concerned with local plan and the government changes to housing. They keep changing them just about every other week. So it always affects the local plan. So we're trying to get the local plan and make sure that it's in publication form for this month, so it can go out for consultation.
And what's happening with the new...
No, it's not a matter of question and answer in this. It was a case of us giving a report. It wasn't a question and answer session.
There is one of those on the agenda anyway, so regarding the...
Just a report.
Right, we're going to chair's report. Agenda 9. We would like to thank all the staff for their hard work and enthusiasm over the Christmas period, for making the Christmas events that was held by the Parish Council very successful.
Reiterate that congratulations.
Yes.
Yes.
Really have.
Yeah.
It's not over. No, it's Hollyhill.
Yeah.
The Hollyhill, just like to put the Hollyhill brick bin should now be in situ. We have got another application for another brick bin, which is up on Fallowfield. Is it called Fallowfield?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had a letter in from them, seeing if we can have a brick bin put up there. Because it's quite a way away for them, for any brick bins within the Clowne Parish.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah, we have to
it's not precepted for, Chair, and unfortunately, if we were to put one on every street without thousands of them, but I think they are in the locality. County Council's provision, County Council's agreement is that it is only where there is an incline. There isn't an incline on Fallowfield.
No.
So I don't think we would meet the criteria to put them on in.
Right. Okay.
Fallowfield is adopted.
And it's not adopted. It doesn't mean that we have to provide a brick bin chair when it's finished.
Yeah, need to vote on it.
Well, I mean, this is what that request now.
Yeah.
Particularly, what I would suggest, Chair, is well, it's further
Further
information
advice
from the County Council.
Yeah.
I'm just giving you what the experience I've had with it, when people have asked for brick bins previously throughout the village, and the only ones the council supports where there is an incline.
So what we'll do is that then, we'll leave it to the next meeting until we can find out for definite.
So I'll contact County Council. I think if the Parish Council did want to support, I think the cost is about £250 for the bin, plus you get your first fill of brick with it. So that's the sort of cost implication, but I will report back.
And it's a cost of clearing.
Yeah, well, that's only the first fill, and then you've got the responsibility of filling from then on in.
Yeah.
In the past, when we've had those sorts of requests, we've tended to list them, because we offer sometimes get several, and then we've discussed what the liabilities and things are for those, and decided whether we were going to preset for an additional one or not. And I suggest that's what we do again, because these might be the first to ask and therefore like to have theirs looked at favourably, but there might be 2 or 3 more that come in later and don't get looking, that are more dangerous in that sense. So if we form a list, and then at the time we're precepting, if we decide to preset for 2 additional ones, then we've got a list that we could compare with the County Council.
On the 20th of December, I had a meeting with the Ickingwood Lane allotment holders. We went through quite a few different things. At the meeting, I bring it to council.
The minutes of the meeting, myself and Alan attended, not listed as being.
But you attended, Ross, but you was actually attending as you weren't attending at the front as members of the public rather than as councillors, because you weren't at the front.
Like it says here, present members of the public, isn't it? So we want to name the members of the public. You've named everybody else over there, except me.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, no problem.
Cheers.
We met with the allotment holders, and if you look at the
We should look up there, whatever he said there, stick there.
there were certain things that were raised, and I've brought it to council for consideration. The allotment holders are looking for some new entrance gates, but we have actually managed to get some entrance gates free of charge through Bolsover District Council. We do have to have a look at probably altering the gates to make them fit. So there might be a small charge, would be for like fitting them and altering them. The other, yeah, can do.
Just on in terms of those gates, so the sort of security well mesh, the green ones, similar to the fencing style that you've got on Villa Park. And they are currently based in South Normanton, but they don't need them, and they're free to a good home. So I've said we potentially will have them, subject to obviously taking them out and resetting them in the ground. But we're talking probably about £1,500, £2,000 worth of gates that are going free to a good home. And because the allotment holders said that they wanted some new gates for the entrance to their facility, I thought, well, you know, let's put our name forward. So it's not definitely confirmed yet, but I am confident that you know, we'll have a fair bite of the cherry in terms of being able to secure them from the District Council.
What sort of costs? Is it for alterations or costs? I think it's huge, aren't it?
Well, each gate is about 4.5 metres. Now, I've been out there and had a look, and we would only need a single, because they're double at the minute, 9 metres and they're 2 4.5 gates to make up the 9, and we'd only need one of those. And there's also several panels of fencing that might come useful as well. So if we're getting a contractor to go in and dig them out, we may as well take receipt of all of them, even if we can't use them immediately. You know, rather than them go to somebody else, and then if we need them for some other future use within the parish, we can store them under the park. You know, job's good. So you know, £1,500 worth of free gates and magazine, it would be silly not to try and secure those for the area.
Have you got any idea of the cost of it?
No, I'm in discussion with the contract at the moment. I've not had the quote back, but obviously I would bring it back to council before we made any commitments, because I want to be sure that you're all right with the cost. But it's certainly going to cost a lot less than buying new and installing. You know, you're probably talking in the hundreds rather than the thousands, I would suggest. And certainly if it's any more than that, wouldn't be cost effective to dig them out. You know, we may as well buy new. But I don't think it costs that much. Certainly, that's my feeling.
So moving on, the allotment holders also want us to look at adding some signage, but if we've got the new gates, putting some signage on there, which we've looked at and said that we're going to look at them afterwards. They also wanted to be part of the National Allotment Society membership. Steve's had a look at it and it costs £55 plus VAT for the year. Once the members, they can like get receipts and different things a lot cheaper and they have more support.
I think the idea was that we wanted the parish council to become the members and ideally pay £55. There are guidance documents that would be useful to me as parish clerk, as well as general advice for the allotment holders, and there's things like model tenancy agreements on there and legal advice that I think for the sake of £55 for the year, I think would be very useful for me to have it as a resource. And if we can share any of that guidance information to allotment holders, then that's got to be a win-win.
Then, well, it's all in the thing.
Yeah. Where does their year run from? I mean, are they a January to December membership per year?
I'm not sure when the subscription year runs from, to be honest, Councillor Compton.
If it's January to December, then we need to get it sharpish.
Yeah.
But if it's,
I think you can join any time. It's like with a contract, you then just get your renewal date 12 months on from when you subscribe. So I don't think it's...
Well, we'd already be paying out £55 to bring the VAT on.
Yes. Yeah.
I guess the clerk gets that further information and turns back the principal agreed to it. I think the idea of the South Normanton is fantastic. We should be doing it. We always said that when we looked at the allotments, any money that the allotment holders we raise off the allotment holders would be reinvested in it. And it's a way of saying, look, this is what you've done, what you wanted.
Well, what else we're wanting is we're looking at clearing. There's been some allotments there that's not been looked after. We've tried to reallocate them, but we're finding it, although we've reallocated the allotments, people still aren't wanting to commit to clearing them because they're just in such a state. So we're actually looking at trying to get someone in to clear the allotments so that when we do get somebody people on, we can then start from scratch. with plots. But at the same time, goes to the top end where we've got 8 allotments that's all overgrown. What we're looking at is possibly clearing the whole of the 8 allotments, but then having 4 on one side for off-street parking. And the other 4 on the other side, the allotment holders have suggested putting those 4 into 8. So you've got smaller plots for people who want to come on, who want like a starter. And that sometimes the larger allotments, it looks pretty good to start with, but then we find that they just can't cope. So we're looking at possibly doing that for them as well, if it goes through council, possibly before the growing season starts.
On reading the minutes, Chair, we've got to establish who owns the caravans. We can't move those caravans until we've identified most of the knows who they belong to. But I would.
There's about 5 on there. I went to the other day. Yeah.
There should not be caravans on the site.
I think what we've sort of said is there's allotments that have now been issued to new allotment holders, but they have got old caravans on there. So obviously they don't belong to anybody.
You know, I have a little potting shed and things like that. I think we can call
And
it
they've just got
pseudo
nets.
potting shed.
So I think with Steve is on about looking at making a new tenancy agreement and rules and regulations where new people going on cannot have caravans.
Council policy, Chair, is that we don't have caravans on there.
It's all right, I'm bringing them on, but then when they get in a mess, they don't
The
want
issue
to
is
take
how
off
to
now.
establish whose they are. I think you're right. I think there's sort of 5 plots that are currently tenanted were, for whatever reason, and sometimes for a personal reason, they've not been looked after, so they've allowed them to sort of go to seed, and obviously that's creating problems for the other tenants that are obviously keeping their plots nicely maintained. So we do want the parish council to do something about that. So I said I'll look at the tenancy agreement, make sure that there is an enforcement element to the tenancy agreement, but obviously we don't want to go in strong arm. We want to try and go in and work with those allotment holders. And one of the first things, if we're clearing that top plot where the 8 were, where we originally had a car park, we may as well get them to do that. It's about 5 plots that are tenanted, but we're up here in terms of weeds, so I'll get them to clear those at the same time before the start of the growing planting season. And then we'll say to those tenants, well, you've now got to maintain it. If you don't, I'm sorry, but we might have to serve notice, because it's not fair, is it, on all those that are maintaining all the other plots, in a reasonably well-maintained way.
So I'd like to put a motion forward that we can...
I know there's someone down there with a full plot was having a few health issues. Can we not come down, so have we handed on him and maybe offer him one of the smaller plots?
Yeah, I think the idea is those 4 of those 8 are going to then become smaller plots, so they're easier to manage for those that might be struggling.
What I'm saying is, will you have to want list and be right to that list, or
If
can
he's
we
already
just...
got a
We've
plot,
already got a bit off of that, and then release the other one.
if we release the other ones, and then off the list. It has,
Yeah, it'd have to be done all.
Yeah.
Not just as a sort of...
Yeah.
So there'd have to be a proper legal process on it.
So can we propose that, can we second that all this can go ahead with council, all in favour? All in
Good idea.
favour? Yeah, all in favour.
Good idea of doing what you're supposed to.
Nobody against. Yeah.
And moving on, agenda 10, correspondence received by the council for information.
As I've said, we've had the annual letter from Bolsover District Council about the precept. There are technical instructions for me to follow. We'll have to have a precept meeting to set the base budget, and then Bolsover District Council can determine what the precept will in terms of the local tax base. We've now resolved to have the meeting be on the 12th, Monday the 12th. So we've sort of dealt with that, but I'm just obviously making parish councils aware that we have had the official letter from the District Council.
Can I have a copy of that appendix?
What, sorry?
Can I have a copy of appendix 3? Unless I'm not looking wrong.
It's the District Council award. I've got a copy of one.
Yes, right.
Right, you got it. Yeah. Just.
Can I have a copy of the letter?
Yeah. Yeah, just on this, Chair, had a letter from Derbyshire County Council who work in partnership with Derbyshire, Lincolnshire, Nottinghamshire and Rutland Community Rehabilitation Company and a graffiti removal contractor to undertake clean-up work across Derbyshire. So they develop these community rehabilitation teams in association with other partners, and these teams come and do almost like a community service type arrangement. And they've written to all parish councils in Derbyshire saying, have you got any projects where these teams could do, and maybe do a fly tipping clearance, a bit of painting, graffiti clean-up within your community. And that if you have any projects, they are asking for nominated projects. I suppose it goes to a panel because they'll get 1 million of these across the county, and they will determine whether you're able to get some free community support within the parish.
Can I have a copy of that letter as well?
Yeah, of course you can. Yeah.
Is it for any community organisation or the council to put forward?
Well, it's addressed to Clowne Parish Council, but at the end of the day, if it's got community benefit and it fits in with the scope of the scheme, I can't see there being any problem about putting, if anyone's got any ideas, to throw it into the mix.
Yeah. If you could pass me a copy of that.
Yeah.
Are we making any nominations tonight?
They don't have to be tonight, but let me just see when the deadline is, just make sure that there's no deadline on it, so, but I think the sooner you get in with all of these things, the sooner you get in, the better.
I can suggest now that any work we do on the greenway, before it becomes a greenway, any clearance work, vegetation, would be much appreciated to keep it down prior to any funding being.
Well, it's the sorts of things it says: cutting back vegetation, trees, ditch site clearance, removing fly tipping, litter picking, site preparation, whatever that is.
There's some great work going on there at home, Steve, but it's a long track, so any way to get out, so if I can put that forward.
If I could ask, if ideally, if councillors could email in with ideas, and I'll coordinate and collate and then submit them on your behalf, and you've got to be into it. We get some benefit from that.
Next one is Mrs. Hewitt's letter.
Yes, Chair.
To all parish councillors, I would like to respectfully ask for an update on the progress, if any, on getting Private M. Butcher his rightful military medal status at the back of his name on the war memorial in Clowne. Also, it has come to light that another military medal recipient, Gunner J. Walker, is also missing his rightfully due of having MM at the back of his name. The correct provenance has been provided to the Parish Council on both men, so there should be no doubt that these men were given this award by order of the King himself in 1916. We should be proud as a parish of all the brave men on the war memorial in Clowne. I would like to let it be read out discussion at the next parish council and not sidelined into exam. Yours sincerely,
Move it to exam, Chair. Can we also remember that there are women on our war memorial as well? Sister Quinn.
So yeah, I'd like you to update the meeting. Can we just have an update from speakers?
We've already obviously considered Norman Butcher for military medal, and I think we resolved last time we discussed it that in principle you were sort of supportive. However, there may be funding available to put the initials MM at the side of their inscription on the war memorial. So, as a result of that resolution, I've been in touch with the War Graves Commission, which I must say is a bit like pulling teeth, trying to get in touch with them. Yeah. But eventually I managed to track somebody down, and lo and behold, they battered me to the War Memorials Trust. And so I've now got in touch with the War Memorials Trust, and I've submitted a pre-application for funding from the War Memorials Trust to pay for these sorts of things. And it's been acknowledged, so they've received it, and they're currently determining whether they want to support it. Now, I did say, Butcher as well as the other gentleman, Walker, because obviously I was aware that there was 2 local parishioners that had won the military medal, so I used common sense and said, look, we've probably got 2. Are you able to fund it? So it's with them at the moment. I've filled in all the paperwork, fingers crossed that they will support it. If they don't, the resolution is that I come back to council for consideration with a costing. So stage 1 is to see whether this War Memorials Trust can provide the funding for these 2 gentlemen, and if they aren't able to do that, I'll bring it back, and it will be before this council to make the determination on whether they want to finance it from the parish budget. That's where we are with it.
Excuse me, have you got any idea? Have you made any inquiry how much it will cost for the stonemason, appropriate stonemason?
Yeah, we are in council, Margaret, again.
Why are we not coming to that?
Chair, move what the clerk's recommendation of the clerk. The clerk has contacted the War Memorial Trust. If they don't fund it, this parish council will fund it, using the appropriate stonemason that we've always used. Because you can't just go and use Fred Smith down the road, no disrespect to Benjamin Fred Smith. We have to use a designated and acceptable one by the Memorial Trust. So it will be, and I'll move it tonight, that if we are unsuccessful in getting money from the War Memorial Trust, Clowne Parish Council will fund it. The problem that was asked for, we can't do anything else.
Alan needs to go for a promotion.
So we'll move it, Chair. Move it. I moved it.
I've got my hand up to talk. I'd like to thank Mrs. Hewitt. I'd like to thank Mrs. Millers. All through this, I've had help. And the London, I've provided this council with all the documentation. The London Gazette is telling you that King George V gave these 2. There's now 2 men. There is only 2 men that died in the First World War. Another man did get the military medal, but he survived the First War. And like I say, I'd like to thank the council if they pay for this or whatever, because these men were Clowne men, and but for them, we wouldn't be sat here today. And as for the repairs to the War Memorial, if we get any money, if there's any money left out of that money, if they don't want it back, I'd like to see it used to repair the War Memorial and not used to repair Andy Tebbs's mistakes.
Point of order, Chair.
That's all that.
All right, that's the first one. All right.
I'd like to thank Alan. I think the rest of the council ought to thank Alan for the hard work he's actually put in solving this. And he has come some obstacles. I think he's done a fantastic job, and we should be proud of having a council like Alan.
Thank you.
Move on. I want to make a vote. You moved, Councillor Clanton seconded. Can we have all in favour?
That's not bad. Votes in a row. Oh, we're doing well. It must be Christmas.
Move on to Frank Knight. Chair.
May I suggest that as that's on the agenda?
I think we should put that
As
into,
that's on the agenda, on the planning.
on the planning. That's what I thought. So move that on to planning. The letter regarding the proposed development on the land in Northborough, I think should move
So
that
that's
on to
council,
planning.
so that's the council.
And, yeah. We're going to go on to Northborough, what, so we've got,
Very interesting. I'm talking now as a parish councillor about the gentleman asked anybody who is against planning in the north of Clowne.
but we're not on planning. We're not on planning, we're
Just putting all these
correspondence.
things into that one, just basing it twice.
So we're on, well, yeah, well that one's got to go to,
So what are you doing with that then?
letter regarding the proposed
Are you
development on the
moving it
land
to
in
go
Northborough.
to be discussed at the same time as you discuss the plan?
Is it like Frank wants?
Yeah.
No,
No, this is Clowne Community Association.
Right, Clowne Community Association.
Clowne North letter.
Clowne North, all right. That is their concern from what I can gather. They put that letter into the
They
district
have,
council.
yeah.
So all it is a reiteration of that letter. Refer to the district council chair. That's where it is. It's not for us as a parish council to make a decision without only a consultation. Yeah. So that's the one. And that's the position on that one.
That's the one.
Is there not two letters from Clowne Community Association?
Yeah, there is. Just
Yeah,
talking
we've
about
got there, yeah.
Clowne North at the minute. Councillor Walker.
What agenda item are we actually on? 'Cause it's going all over the place there.
We're on
We're on appendix 2.
Yeah.
Three, sorry. Appendix 3, the first letter from Clowne Community Association regarding the land from, to the north of Clowne.
Remember, letters on it, so we can.
Let's move it back to the district council.
Oh, shit.
So I've moved that letter gets put to the district council.
Second.
All, seconded, all in favour? All against? Community Association letter regarding the Clowne neighbourhood plan.
I will with that extent, if we made acquisitions later on the neighbourhood plan within the last 6 months, when we debated it and made acquisitions later, I can get answers to that off to get to I'll move that gets
Are they proposing, through you chair, are they proposed, just
Would you like to,
let's leave the letter and then take the proposal.
Copies, I've got copies.
Just read the
Read it
letter.
out.
Correspondence, it's not about, it's
Right.
correspondence to council, it's not correspondence to council workers.
Right, okay. This is Clowne neighbourhood plan. Copies have gone to the leader and the leader of Bolsover District Council and the planning officer, and obviously a copy to the parish council. It says Clowne Association are asking Bolsover District Council if we can have our scoping meeting as set out under the new neighbourhood protocol set out in the November exec report. We have in the past asked Bolsover District Council for a meeting but have been fobbed off. We now see that your protocol is to offer a scoping meeting, and we would like to have such a meeting, including Clowne Parish Council, so that we can explore the issues and potentials for a neighbourhood plan for Clowne. The background of efforts over the past year or so is that we have been consistently frustrated in our efforts and hopes to get a neighbourhood plan for Clowne, and the decisions have been taken by Clowne Parish Council not to pursue one that has been based on wrong advice and information. Plus, that decision has been made and are being made for Clowne by developers and BDC that are not in the best interest of Clowne for the future. We're about to enter a position where decisions will be irrevocable, that will completely change the nature of our small town, and we ask now that we should understand with the parish council, councillors, what that means and what, if anything, is still possible on the neighbourhood plan. The decision by the parish not to pursue a neighbourhood plan for Clowne in April 2014, which was turned down in principle in 2015 by Clowne Parish Council, based on advice largely from Bolsover councillors, joint parish councillors present in the meeting, that said essentially it would be too expensive, patently not true, and grants were and are available to cover a substantial part of the costs. And secondly, that it could not be done before the local plan process was done. Also patently not true, given we won't have one until 2018. For instance, Holy Moorside and Walterhood neighbourhood plan passed the referendum stage, and Ashover Parish Council has been submitted to independent inspector and a referendum plan for early 2018. Both these started after ours was proposed. The Holy Moorside plan cost a total of £12,640 and grants paid for £11,150 of that, meaning that the parish contribution was £1,500 with support from your locale. Notice in Derbyshire Times, 30th of November 2017 edition, stating that the government has given Bolsover District Council 10 weeks to get their act together and get a local plan in place, or they will impose one on us. How will this affect Clowne? Question mark. We also contend that the presence of 4 senior Bolsover District Councillors on the Parish Council has not helped.
Can I point of order? That is absolutely...
Can we just read letter?
No, hang on a minute, Ross. Hang on.
No.
Sure. That is totally... Excuse me. I've moved the point of order. I moved it first. That letter is a disgrace.
Excuse me.
Read the letter.
That letter is a disgrace.
We're in council. We are in council.
That letter is a disgrace.
Don't shut up.
If I say we're in council, I'm afraid we're in council, and if we have to, we will ask the residents to leave. Sorry.
Well, that's not a letter.
That is a disgrace.
What are you
It's
trying to
a
hide?
council meeting, sorry.
What are you trying to hide?
There's nothing to hide. The fact of the matter is
Well,
that
that's
letter
Just one
is
point.
absolutely... But I take offence at that letter. All right? And I will do what others do. I'll take legal advice on that letter. I want a copy.
Good.
Right, next to the council, we read out to council. Can you carry on reading out, please?
Yeah.
You're out of order.
Have you just declared an interest anyway? Can't Community Association.
It's a letter
Yeah, we have no
to
right to
council.
You can't move or second it.
I don't want to move on second, it's correspondence.
It can't be signed by Alan Bailey, it's a Clowne Community Association letter.
Who's the letter from?
He asked for it from the Community Association to this council. And we've asked it to be read out.
Council, it should be to the district council because it
No, it's
isn't.
addressed to this council.
It's addressed to this council, and I'm asking for it to be read out by this council.
Chair, can I just ask? Can I just check, Chair? Then let's go for a point of order.
Councillor reads that straight to
Wait, excuse me.
Get out of the meeting, stay out of it.
Can I just say,
Oh, this is getting interesting.
the minutes, the declaration of interest book has been signed. On what Councillor Bailey signed it under? Because I reckon that Councillor Bailey has declared an interest in Clowne Community Association and Clowne History Group and probably Clowne whatever it is as well. So as such, he should not be taking part in any debate because he's declared an interest. That's a pecuniary interest.
I am not taking
There's no
part in
debate
it.
happening,
I'm
we
Sorry,
need the letter
Councillor
out.
Bailey, but you're out of
But
order.
there's no debate happening. The letter is getting...
I just moved that the letter is out of order, Alan.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I'm not taking part in any debate. I'm just asking for the letter to be read out.
And I've just moved
I'll
that
have
letter.
letter out, please.
You can have it read out.
Thank
If
you.
everyone decides to, calm down a bit.
That's absolutely appalling.
Put it to a vote.
You don't like the truth, that's the trouble.
If the public do not have order, I will be asking them to leave.
Right.
Well, we might as well for what we're getting out of this.
The reality is, the decision has been taken by this parish council, like Councillor Patterson has just said, that we would not go into doing a neighbourhood plan. And that's all it is. This council makes the decisions, not Clowne Community Association, not Clowne in Blue, not Clowne anywhere else, not even anybody. It's this council. We are the elected members. No matter what people say, we make the decisions. And we have made those decisions, and I stand by those decisions. And those decisions were taken fairly.
We are independent.
You're supposed to represent the parish parishioners.
No, we're elected to represent the parish. Not the
Dictatorship.
Do lots of bits and stuff.
Right. We also confirm, we'll just make sure I've got
If you just do the last paragraph again, Steve, because I missed half of that, because somebody was shouting.
You were.
We also contend that the presence of 4 senior Bolsover district councillors on the parish council was not held to confuse the Clowne Parish decision process. These 4 councillors are led by following the council set of priorities that flows naturally from them being paid councillors from Bolsover.
Absolutely disgraced.
Can we just have letter?
No.
Please, can we just hear letter before this? We just stand against it.
Absolutely.
Carry on from where
We can't hear it.
I'm sure.
He's trying to get it all on this recording.
Bolsover Council set priorities that flows naturally from them being paid councillors from Bolsover and in the centre of Bolsover policy, direction, decision making. As such, we believe that they should have declared a conflict of interest and withdrawn from the voting on the Clowne Parish decision, where Bolsover's wider council interest may not necessarily be the same as Clowne community interest. As such, Clowne residents have been excluded from the process of neighbourhood planning that other Bolsover communities have been able to access because Bolsover District Councillors present on the parish and with other senior level influence on the parish decision making gave wrong advice to other parish councillors.
Absolutely.
Can this position be redressed, reviewed at all through your stated scoping meeting as set out in your new guidance? Can we at least have the stated discussion scoping meeting and understand first-hand from the Bolsover District Council the position as a community alongside the parish council? We look forward to hearing from you.
As I said, it's a letter to Bolsover district. It's not a letter to us.
When I sit here, Chair, through you, when I sit here, I do not represent Bolsover District Council.
No.
I represent Clowne Parish Council, and I've always said that, and I've always stood by that. I find it an absolute insult that that letter has come in and has targeted not just me, but colleagues on this council who come here on a regular basis, giving up our own time. You might not like it, Councillor, but that's your issue. It's not mine. The reality of it is we have been targeted there. That's totally out of order. Okay? I think that letter should go back to them, telling them that it's out of order.
Can I have a copy of the letter?
No. Letter to council.
Talking to you.
You did it. What you resolve it.
You can see you're still running council.
Just send it back to you, thank you very much for your letter. We refer to the relevant authority.
Not telling you what to put, you're not stupid.
Actually, the clerk asked me what I wanted to put. Yeah?
I reckon we should swap places. Carl, I reckon we should swap places. I reckon we should swap places.
That's it, you've got it in it. Right. It's taking long to put on, is it?
Council for decision. We're looking at Anchor Clowne Football Club. Requesting for a grant contribution under Section 137 of the Local Government Act toward purchase of training equipment for the club which is reforming for the 2018 season. Have I got any comments?
I've supported enough from the money they're asking for.
We don't know what money they are.
I thought it was £100.
It says the total amount to get them going is £232.90.
Yeah, move it into exempt.
Why is it going into exempt? I don't understand. You can explain why that's an exempt
We have
item.
3 sets for it, Chair, so we need to look at the 3 sets.
It's 137 money though, so that's not clear. It's precept, is it?
That isn't.
No. It's been proposed by Ross, I'm seconding it.
Yeah.
So moving it into exempt,
Move it to exempt.
and then we can discuss that.
Should that be, can I just ask, should that be moved to exempt?
Well, I mean, you can move, this council can move.
Well, your advice, is that a legal exempt item?
Well, it's financial matter, so it can be moved into confidential.
Yeah.
So moving on, we have a letter dated 7th of December from Derbyshire Association of Local Councils So that's the subscription fees for 2008, 2009.
That's decided at the precept chair whether or not the precept.
Oh, again, it's an accident.
Yeah.
That has happened in the previous.
Like you need 2 seconds in vote on it.
What's the matter again?
Right, this is from the Derbyshire Association of Local Councils for the subscription for 2018-19. There are 2 aspects to it. There's the national subscription, which is based on number of electors and a cost per elector, and that comes out at £429.57p for the year. And then you've got your Derbyshire local subscription, and that comes out at £450. That's £879.57 is what they're asking for the 2018-19.
Can I, through you, Chair, can I say that's the first time that we have been requested by DAL or now where they split those 2 elements. All right. So I would suggest that the clerk checks out whether or not we can be a member of one or other or both. All right.
Yeah.
Before the precept on the 12th.
You need to move the second.
I'd like